Jay, welcome to Mathematics 7. Today, we're going to discuss about gathering data. First, we have statistical sampling. It is the process of selecting a group from the population which data will be collected. So, why do we need for sampling? First, it will save your time and effort. Second, it will save the money that you will spend in running the study. Types of sampling techniques. We have two. First is probability, and then the second one is non-probability. For probability, all members of the population have equal chances of being chosen as part of the sample. While for non-probability, that is the opposite. All members of the population do not have equal chances of being chosen as part of the sample. First, for probability sampling, we have these illustrations. We have four kinds. First, we have simple random sampling. Second, systematic sampling. Third, stratified sampling. And then fourth, cluster sampling. So, let's explain one by one. First is for simple random sampling. It is sometimes called the lottery or fishbowl method. A sample may be selected with or without replacement. Every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. In this case, we have an example. We have a bowl, and then we put all the grade levels. Like for example, grade 7, grade 10, grade 8, and grade 9. And then after that, you're going to pick or to choose how many names or how many grade levels you need. Second is systematic sampling. Every member of the population is listed in order and individuals are chosen at regular intervals. The sampling starts by choosing the first element from the list and then selecting every nth element and so on. So how are we going to determine the number of interval? N is referred to the sampling interval. N is equal to the population size divided by the sample size. So like for example, in this given picture, we choose to pick the every third student. Third is stratified sampling. You're going to divide the population into groups or strata of the same interest or categories. And then, select a sample randomly from each group. So, in this picture, we divide the population by grade level. And then, from each level, we're going to select one sample or one student from each level. The fourth one is cluster sampling. It involves dividing the population into subgroups. And then, after that, get samples randomly from some or all elements within the selected cluster. In this case, we group again the students according to grade level from grade 7 to grade 10. But in this case, you're going to select randomly per level. And then, you will be able to use that per level or as a group as your whole sample from this given cluster. So in this case, we can use grade 7 and then grade 10. Next is non-probability sampling. We have two. First, convenience sampling, and then the second one is purposive sampling. For convenience sampling, it is the easiest method of sampling and is also known as accidental sampling. A sample may be selected because of convenience or they are readily available and willing to participate in this survey. In this picture, the researcher or the principal select the students standing near to him. Next is purposive sampling. This is also known as judgment sampling. In this method, the researcher selects a sample that is useful for the study. In the picture given, the principal select the students with the higher level, like for example, the grade 10 or grade 9, wherein he think that it can answer his questions or his surveys easily. Now, if you have already your sample, now that is the time to collect the data. So, data collection refers to the process of getting information from a population or sample. Types of data, first is primary source, and then secondary source. So, when we say primary source, data is collected by a researcher himself. Data is gathered through questionnaire, interviews, or through observations. While for secondary source, the data collected, compiled, or written by other researchers. Like for example, from books, from journals, or from newspapers. What are the different methods of collecting data? First, direct or interview method. It is done when a person solicits information from another person, either by telephone or in person. The interviewer is the person gathering the data, while the interviewee is the person being interviewed. In this picture, since we have a pandemic, which is COVID, we have conducted a virtual interview. Second is through indirect or questionnaire method. It is done by reproducing a printed questionnaire, which is a checklist of prepared questions and distributed to individuals needed to be studied depending on the content of the questionnaire. The individuals then answer the questionnaire and return it to the researcher. So as you can see in the picture, the doctor have a checklist of the following questions. Third is through observation method. In this method, the researcher observes the behavior of the participants. The investigator is the person gathering the data, while the subject is the person being observed. In this picture, the man being observed if he is having any of the symptoms of COVID-19. So we can use the following human senses, like for example, the sense of sight, smell, hearing, and so on. Number 4 is through experiment method. It is used to determine the cause and effect relationship of certain phenomena under controlled conditions. So in the given pictures, we have the rapid test and the swab test to be able to determine whether a person is positive or negative for COVID-19. And last is through census or registration method. In this method, information can be gathered from documents or reports which are released by the government or any institution. Like for example, in the picture below, we have a contact tracing. A representative from the Department of Health will be able to determine the different informations of a person who are or having symptoms of COVID-19 cases. Like for example, it's either from healthcare workers, household contacts, or through community contacts.